Woolaloo. 30s in the chat. 30s in the chat. I don't believe this one's going to take as long as most of the other tier lists. I'll try my best to keep it in a way that it's not going to be too long for everyone. But we do have little videos for you guys. I've got little videos for each map, so buckle in. The way it's going to work, we'll talk about the loot for each map. We'll talk about the PvP for each map, and then we'll give it an overall, just what we feel the map deserves, right? So, bringing up my little cheat sheet here. There's a reason why I have 6 monitors, and this is it. So, in no particular order, let's start with the smallest map, being Factory. All right, Factory. All right, so if you don't remember which map Factory is, that's Factory right there. Very small map. It's actually the smallest map of the game, and it's getting an expansion very soon. It's actually, I guess, my favorite map. I should probably disclose that. My favorite map, and in my opinion, it's probably the best map to start learning the game and where to get used to the PvP of the game. So when you want to actually start getting better at PvP, it's generally the place to go. So little facts about Factory. There's not a lot of loot. All right, there's 1 safe. There's 6 jackets, even though my cheat sheet says 4 jackets. But there are some actually little cheeky spots, like the shelving on the outside of the hallway can spawn some like pretty nice stuff. So yeah. So loot-wise, you're actually relying on the players that take loot in there to make the loot good. You can farm it for scavs as well. 7 jackets? Where's the jacket I'm missing? 2 at forklift, 2 at stripper, 2 in the office. There's a single jacket somewhere. Oh, in the locked room. There's 7 jackets in the locked room. It's not the kick open door, it's the other one. It's the locked room. Yeah, 7 jackets. Apologies. Yeah, it's the loot side of things is really depending on what other people bring in there. But on top of that, you can actually farm the scavs, and it's a very quick map to load, loot in, get into, kill some stuff, get out. So you can actually get a fair bit of loot in there, but it's just really dictated by how other people go in there with, how much loot other people go in there with, and then also how good you are at the game. So, in saying that, loot would be probably about here. I love Factory. Unfortunately, it's just not that good for loot. It's not bad for loot. Like there's a safe jackets, bowling cam that's all in one room, and you get a lot of players going up there. But and a lot of people do go in there geared. Like Woods, for example, not everyone goes in geared. It's just, as someone just said, it's bad in comparison to other maps. If it's not F, then what is F? Just because something, if something was F, I would say you should not go there for loot at all. Right? I'm putting it as E because I think you can go there for loot. It's just not good loot very often. That makes sense? Because like if you go F, you would just you would avoid it completely for loot. But I actually think it is, like for example, Cesarion was playing Tarkov not too long ago, and when he was playing it, he was just playing Factory and he was making bank. Right? You can literally make bank in there if you can kill the PvP. You can kill the players, which is what we're about to talk about. PvP. I actually think Factory has some of the best PvP you can have in this game. for the fact that fast action, people going geared, and you can really work on your skills in PvP. It's where I begun it. It was where I begun it when I was playing Tarkov. There was 4 maps. There was Factory, Woods, Shoreline, Customs. Customs was about a third of the size. Woods was about half the size. Shoreline was about a third of the size. And Factory was Factory, right? And everyone played Factory for PvP. And it was great. So I actually feel like Factory is probably still one of the best maps for PvP for the fact that you don't need a good computer to get in there. It's fast action. You're straight into it. You can get more kills per hour than any other map, even labs or customs. Like I don't honestly believe you can get more kills per hour anywhere else. My camera just died. So I actually feel like it's a great map for PvP. So in saying that, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it here. I think. I actually think it deserves to be either B or A. And there's a reason why I don't believe it should be S tier. And the reason why I don't think it should be S tier is I don't think it has diversity in PvP. All right? That's the reason why I don't think it's S tier. It's all very one-way PvP. Like, it's very, I guess, predictable is a good word. Once you learn how to use all the angles of Factory, there's not really like big cool flanks you can do. Like, yeah, you can do some flashy jumps and throw some grenades from good angles and stuff. But it's like if you were playing, I guess, yes, people are talking about CS right now. If you're playing CS, you know all the angles, like in Dust. It's very linear. So, as an overall map, I guess, take into account it's questing, it's PvP, it's loot, everything that happens on the map. Should we bring in map performance? It's probably the best performing map. If you watch my most recent 3090 versus 2080 Ti video, it was the only map on my computer that could get 144 FPS consistently. Talk about design and looks. Let's say Factory design and looks until after the expansion. It's actually their first map, I'm pretty sure. It's one of the first maps they made. So, dark, damp, and moist. Is Factory dark, damp, and moist? Just how we like it. See, I got in trouble for making a tier list purely off my bias, right? What I think. Factory, if this was a tier list of my favorite map to least favorite map, Factory would be right here. It's actually my favorite map. So I would be putting it here. But let's be honest, you guys crack the shits when I do that. And then I don't stop hearing about it. And I get fucking essays and theses written about my gun tier list. And then I have to like write a handwritten apology to Reddit. Otherwise, Reddit's going to cancel me. All right. So I need to put it where I should. So, or where it actually has to be. So, I don't really want to put it here, but I think that's probably where it fits. I think that's where it fits. Let me think. Just let me think. Okay. I want something to be added to this, but it won't be an added category, but just map design, right? I think Factory is a decent map design for a PvP map. I'm excited to see the expansion because there is a definite flaw in its design, and that's why I'm going to leave it in C. I think the spawns in Factory have a couple of things that would make it perfect. But the spawns, if they just fucked around the spawns and made it proper, it would actually be the perfect little PvP map. But because of the flaws in the design, and obviously the loot's not great. The PvP's decent, I'm going to put it in C. I don't want to go into like a full essay about this, but like, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So that's forklift down here. We used to call it single player, right? And then we'll call that main extract, right? Factory kind of looks like this, right? And there's like a box in here. And then there's like a spawn here, 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 and like here, right? But then on this side, there's like, oh, actually, it's more like this, actually. Actually, kind of looks like a gun, doesn't it? There's another spawn here, and then you have a spawn here and here. Right? This person's fucked, right? This person's fucked. Like, even if you're really good at it, like, you come out here, you've got this guy coming out here, this guy runs out and down, and this guy runs through the tunnels and comes up. Like, if these are 3 geared players and this guy's a geared decent player, Tarkov's a lot of the fights in Tarkov feel like a coin flip. And yeah, so I think that this person always gets shafted, and I think the way to fix it would actually be, and obviously they're doing an expansion, so it's going to change, but the actual way to fix it would be to actually have a spawn down here and actually expand the map down here, and then that one could still be there, but you would make it that if someone spawns here, there would be no spawn here. And then that way there's like enough spawns around the map to actually make it so people are coming in from every direction. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's just a very shitty little game flaw that I like, a design flaw that makes, like, I enjoy the forklift factory when I'm after killing people. Like when I'm in there to go kill people, forklift spawn's amazing. But when I'm in there to just like to get a quest done, it's fucking horrid. Like if you're like, I got delivery from the past. Pestily said just do it. You can do it, mate. And then like you spawn in the factory, you get that spawn, and you just hear the people running at you. And you're like, not like this. Not like this. It's so fucking true. So, all right. I think that's probably all we need to say about factory. Let's bring on the next map. So the question that I just got right then, which I think is a very valid question, was would you recommend factory for a new player? And my answer is yes. Yes, 100%. I think you should definitely be playing factory as a new player, just to learn the PvP side of things. Cesarum was going in literally just a pistol every time, and you just go in there with a pistol and just practice trying to get head taps. Every time you get a head tap, you've just got an awesome gear. You could literally go in with a pistol and like a packer, and that's it. And just go for it, have fun. Because the loss is like fuck all. And if you just go with the pistol on the factory and don't take a packer, the scavs will charge you. You can kill the scav, take the scav gear, then kill the players. So go the mac and cheese, as General Sam would say. All right, so customs. This map is probably the bane is the word? The bane of all existence for a lot of players. it's one of those maps that it drives people bonkers because of just having to get the bronze pocket watch at the start of a wipe, getting an Ollie logistics key, getting a Goshen key, getting into 303, 203, 220, onion, portable cabin. There is so many quests to customs when you're a new player and you're just like, I just want to get my quest done. And then you can't get it done. Bullshit. The bullshit task. Shoot a point in heaven. Oh my God. So many tasks. Set up. How many people right now have gone on to the setup task or the bullshit task and said, fuck this game. I'm going to go play Fortnite. Well, they probably wouldn't say Fortnite, but I'm going to go just, I don't know, beat my meat. Because they just can't handle it. They can't handle it. So yeah. Customs is probably, I used to love the design format of customs, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'll show you a very simple example of why I used to love customs. And I still do enjoy customs, but I wish there was the old map somewhere. I'm just looking at the EFT wiki. I've probably got it saved somewhere. All right, so customs used to be, the whole of customs used to be like this, right? Right? And then they did this expansion, and then they did this expansion. So the interesting thing, and hopefully you guys could see it, right? But there was spawns on this side, there was spawns on this side. And what's the one thing that people have to do? They all have to cross this point right here, right? This fucking choke point was like the best for PvP. Like it made every single person in the map go through there. So the way it kind of worked is like, I don't know, Kevin fucking spawns in over here. Oops. Kevin spawns in over here and he's like, holy fuck, this place is a clusterfuck. I finally killed everyone, right? And then he's like, oh, he probably went up here first. Kills everyone in the middle of the map, right? He kills everyone in dorms, and he's like, holy fuck, I've already killed like 5 players, and I've finally got some loot, right? And then he's like, comes this way, and then Billy over here, right, is like, finished killing everyone over here, and he's like, and then now Kevin has to fight Billy, right? Because there was fighting on this side of the map, there was fighting on this side of the map, there was fighting in the middle of the map as they both came across, and then it was just constant action. It was legitimately like the most constant action map. Not that it's not still action right now, but the point I want to make is it used to be like a ferocious map, even more brutal than it is today, right? Because people would be like, I just want to get my, bronze pocket watch out of the truck, right? So they'd get the bronze pocket watch out of the truck, and then they'd just be like trying to sneak through here, and then they'd just die. They couldn't get across. And they'd try and sneak through the back wall, and they couldn't get across. Like this area here that was added actually was a fucking godsend to a lot of players, because you could get the bronze pocket watch, and then you could run up here and just run around the edges to the extract, right? Or you could try and get through the factory key door and then run to the old gas or to ZB and then out through that way. But this spot right here, I know I'm coloring in the whole map now, was really fucking rough, right? So, you guys can see what I wrote. Sure, you understand it, right? Map is just now blue pass. Oh, you can see it all. So, don't get me wrong, them adding the fortress and Crack House, even though it's called Medical, made the map really good. Particularly, I like the fact that Reshala spawns there, and here now. I love the fact that he spawns in all 3 locations. It's great. And I think it adds a lot more diversity that people can go either like on the southern side, northern side, or through the middle. I actually think through the middle is the safest place now, by the way. If you want to get through this map, you run straight down this road. I actually think it's the safest place. Go straight down the center, nothing to worry about. Can we have a Pestily do a Bob Ross painting? Yeah, I could do that. All right, we're off topic. So, that's a little bit of history of customs. They did the northern expansion, and that gave people freedom to get around to the choke point, which I thought was a really good idea. Then they did the southern expansion. I'm calling it north and south. I don't know which fucking direction it is in the cardinal points, but the top expansion with the hillside, and then they did the bottom expansion with the stronghold. Fortress, whatever the fuck it's called. Loot-wise, though, there is now 23 hidden caches. There's 7 safes. 7? Big Red. 2 in 3 story. 3 in 2 story. New gas. Yeah, 7 safes. And there is jackets. There is a lot of jackets and filing cabinets. The actual thing that's really interesting about customs is a lot of the people don't even loot the filing cabinet. Sorry, the jackets and the safes. If you looted the jackets and safes, you could actually make a lot of money. If you didn't see what I did on the hardcore, you could literally go with an empty docks case and just loot all the trash keys, and you'll make a couple $100,000 just to selling them vendor. And if you survive the raid, you can sell the good ones to the fucking flea market. So don't underestimate the amount of loot that is in customs. Plus, now that they've added the Crack House with Intel docks, Big Red has an Intel dock. The marked room is the best marked room in the game. All the other marked rooms are subpar compared to the customs marked room. I actually think customs is some of the best loot in the game. However, it is also one of the hardest maps to get out with that loot. It's actually one of the hardest maps to get out with that loot because there's 13 players running across, and there's so many like spots where you're just gonna have to run past players. So unfortunately, as a looting map, I'm gonna pretty much put this as like a looting map, like not just the loot in there, but how survivability of getting out with that loot. I would say that it's probably around a B to C tier. Like I want to put it as B, but I don't think it is. I think the loot is probably B tier, but the survivability to get the loot is probably C tier. All right, so it'd be a B tier for loot, but to get out with the loot, it's a C tier. Just because of, particularly if you're newer at the game, trying to get past all the players and that. Whereas I think, like, without going into too much detail right now, like Woods and Shoreline are much better maps for getting loot and getting out. If you know what you're doing, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that shortly. All right, for PvP, I honestly think customs, dare I say it, is probably up there as one of the best PvP maps, if not the best PvP map. And the reason behind that is it's got very good diversity of the type of players in there. So you're not always running into super sweaty chads. You're running into like lower geared players. It's inside, outside. There's long range fights, there's short range fights. As a whole map for diversity of like PvP, it's really great. Probably the best thing they ever did on customs was they made it you could jump out the windows of dorms, right? Dorms used to be very, what's the word? Predictable? Not predictable. It's like, I used to be able to just like, people would just run to the marked room. Not much variety. Limited's the good point. People would run to the marked room and hold the fucking corridor. And it was just really one-dimensional. Whereas now you can jump out windows, you can drop down to the floor below, you can just run to get away. And I love the fact that you can jump out of those windows. So that made it really good. And definitely made it a lot better. So, I would say, in my opinion, customs is probably... Ooh, I reckon it's better than a B tier. I actually think it would be it's an A tier for PvP because it's so good and constant. I'm trying to convince myself why I would want to put it on B tier, but all the choke points, all the high loot areas being crack house, I call it stronghold, but fortress and dorms, it's dead half the time. On what servers? What maps? What servers are you playing on that customs is dead? So yeah, customs is up there as I kind of think there's two categories here. So for PvP, solo PvP, customs is great, right? I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but I actually think Interchange is a very good map for group PvP. For squad PvP, Interchange is a great map. Customs, solo PvP is perfectly acceptable. Like, I think you can go into customs as a solo player. You can have a lot of fun as a solo player, and you can survive consistently once you get good at the game. I actually think maybe I should put customs as B tier, and the reason behind this is if you go in as a squad onto customs, it's almost boring. If you go in as a 3-man onto customs, it's like easy map clear if you've actually played the game a bit. A is good. All right, let's leave it at A. I might change it later. All right. Now, as an overall map, I actually think it's probably one of the better maps because it's got lots of quests, lots of PvP, and good loot. It can be quite frustrating though because of how many quests go to customs. And don't quote me on it, but I've definitely spoken to BSG in the past about it, saying that there should be more tasks on other maps early on. So there should be a lot of tasks, even like just 1 or 2 shoreline tasks for the sub level 10. There should be like a task to shoreline and a task to reserve, for example, just to like help bring people to other maps on the earlier tasks. I'm just fucking, no, not shoreline. So many shoreline quests. You don't do a single shoreline quest till you're like level 20 to 25. I'm talking like one quest to say, hey, g'day shoreline, you know, like, or g'day like reserve, just to get you to another map and to draw people to other maps in the earlier levels. Because right now, all we do is we just run into customs on the earlier levels. Reserve needs more quests. I think it does too. Yeah, we could have actually had a title saying tasks, but I think customs as a map overall, design wise, it's a little bit flawed in the design. See, I actually think Interchange, Reserve, and Shoreline are actually, as a map, actually, I think Shoreline as a map is probably the best design map as a map in a gaming perspective. But I'll talk about that in more. But Customs is kind of like, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think the best way of wording it. It's like you've got to be hyper vigilant, fucking on your best game all the time, and you lose years of your life because of the stress behind it. Whereas like other maps have better build up. Like you actually got to move into somewhere. Like the high loot's in one specific area, and you got to build up to it. Whereas Shoreline's kind of like slapping shit everywhere. Got to run around everywhere. It's tasks everywhere. It's just so jam packed. Overloaded is the perfect word. It's overloaded. It's stuffed to the brim. It's the Thanksgiving turkey, and it's been stuffed to the brim. Next map. I'm doing the maps in order that I remember them being added to the game. All right. So that's why I'm doing it in this order. All right. Special thanks to Frankie for putting these map videos together. If you want to see who Frankie is, this is his Twitter. There's one of my editors. I'm looking for a new editor. Person editing this video is leaving me at the end of the month. So Brit's moving on to a new job. But if you guys know someone who actually wants to be an editor for me, pin post on my Twitter page and fill out the form there, or share it with someone who does. But Frankie put together these map videos. All right, Woods fucking map drives me bonkers. This map, it's like you could do camera. You could do everything right on this map and still die. You could look at every single angle. You could be slow and methodical, fucking looking at everything. Doesn't matter what you do, you will die on this map. It is like one of those things that I actually kind of feel like squad PvP on this map could actually be quite good if it was like squad versus squad and you worked. Like if you could like have private little competitions of squad v squad, this map would be actually pretty sick. In saying that, they actually did a really good job of doing the expansion. Not gonna lie, Woods went from being a map that I would never recommend to anyone to being actually a recommended map for me. And the reason behind that is they went from like 9 hidden stashes to, I think it's up to 32. I actually think it's more. I think it's about 34 or 35 hidden stashes. It's got a little bit of diversity. You know what I love? Instead of just having walls, they added landmines. They actually added snipers. They actually made it that if you go to a certain areas, you blow up. I actually love that concept. They made all those little camps where you actually get some really good loot from. The only thing I wish they did was made the scav boss spawn in a different spot. The scav boss is very predictable. It's the easiest scav boss. Sturman. I know we've already done the tier list. Wood's got a bit of a makeover when it came to loot, and I actually think it's quite good now for looting. I actually think it's one of the easiest maps to loot, get out, and make good bank. So you go to my YouTube channel, you look up the hidden cache, like stash guide. There's like 35 of them or 35 of them. And then you literally take in 3,001 rubles, right? And then you take the card extract. And you just go through all the tree lines. You don't even go near the fucking, like near the camps and stuff. You stay away from the lumber mill. You can loot through all those hidden stashes. If you want to check out some of the camps, you can. You can go in with the night vision, do it at night time. You don't need a single key, correct? Like you can go in there with no keys and you can make bank. Like honestly, particularly early wipe, you can make so much money off MREs and stuff like that. MREs, what else? Water. You can sell water. Sugar sells a good late wipe. There's the med spawns. There's so much good stuff in there. So personally, guys, I actually think Woods is a good looting map now. I know people might disagree, but you can literally sneak around that map, loot it like crazy, and make bank. It's actually a really good map. As long as you do the research. If you have no idea what you're doing, or where you're going, like obviously Woods is going to be atrocious, but you need to go with the plan and you can actually have a lot of success on Woods. I'm not even joking. Woods is at A tier. It's a B tier. It's a B tier looting map. And if you had asked me before the expansion where Woods was for loot, I would put it F. 100%. I would have been like, guys, F tier. Don't even waste your time going to the map. This map's trash. I would have been here. I would have been like, there's not even loot. There's not even loot. And another thing that I guess we could take into account here with the loot as well is Sturman and his minions are super freaking easy to kill. They don't even shoot you from a certain range. So if you know where they spawn, you can shoot them, grab their loot, and get out. It obviously comes down to like do it late. They don't wear armor, correct? They don't wear helmets, so you can just headshot them. And Rebel say true. PvP, I friggin' hate Woods for PvP. It is the most frustrating map. You can chase down every gunfight. You can shoot everyone perfectly. You could take the perfect angles and leans and try and shoot everyone as possible. And Kevin hiding in the, like, I don't know what you guys call, like, people that are like just, it's not even like dodgy people. It's just literally just people shooting from the side. You could be like, oh, there's gunshots over there. You run over there. You start shooting. You shoot the one guy that's in you third party, and you get fourth partied. It happens so often, right? And it's not even like, it's not people being dodgy or stupid or just that. It's just the map is just so frustrating because you could do everything right, and someone just sees a glimpse out of the side of their eye from like 300 meters away, and now they're chasing you down. And we're not even talking about people using thermals yet, right? Thermals on this map, like when the T7 thermal came out, I just went in with an SVD. No sight, T7 thermal, and I would just walk through that map like it was no tomorrow. It was so easy. I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't actually seen what T7 thermals are like now because they're like 12 million rubles each. But like legitimately, it was so bad. In saying that, I do like sniping though. I just don't enjoy it as much on this map. Right? I actually think Reserve is a really great map for sniping before they had the bunker. And then they added the bunker on Reserve, and now sniping on Reserve is less fun. Because a lot of people use the underground now to like get away from everything. But before the bunker, Reserve was like my favorite map to go sniping. So yeah, Woods, PvP. You can go like the only reason I'm putting it on E. The only reason I'm putting it on E is it's probably the best sniper map. As annoying as it is. If you want to go in there and just do some snipes, some long range snipes, it's good for that. It's good for one thing. But that's the only thing. Anything else, it's just frustrating. Opinions on the Woods task. All right, let's touch on that real quick. The Woods task. I know you guys want me to talk about Tarkov Shooter Part 8. I never have trouble with that. I'm going to curse myself. I own an X-Swap. Next time I do that task, I'm going to hate it because I just said that. But I never have trouble with that task. But I play very aggressive. And if you don't get the early kill, it can be quite frustrating. But I feel like if you can get up to Tarkov Shooter Part 8, you can pretty much do every task in the game. All right. So as an overall map for Woods, I don't think it's a great map. Loot and PvP combined wise. The tasks kind of make it frustrating for a lot of people. I know that. It's definitely the most complained about map and complained about tasks. For tasks. The looting's great, but just because the map has good loot doesn't make it a good map. And I'm not trying to do it as a favorite list because if it was favorite list, factory would be at the top. It'd go like factory, customs, labs. I think would be like my order of favorite maps, and Woods would be like probably here somewhere. But like the only reason that this is even in D tier is because I actually love how they've done the looting and they've done the expansion. The expansion to Woods saved the map for me. It's not as fun with the group though. Oh, Woods as the group would be frustrating. I died. Where was he? By the tree. In what direction? Towards the lumber mill. Righto. So there's like 400 trees towards the lumber mill. There's a player behind one of them. I don't think we need to add anything else about Woods. It is what it is. All right. Next map. Now, I know Shoreline has a lot of mixed feelings for a lot of people. I'm just going to do one thing real quick. Into Wiki Shoreline. I want to talk about the map before I talk about the loot and stuff. So, Shoreline. A little bit of history. Shoreline used to have a wall like here. That used to be the map. This left-hand side. This used to be the map. The whole map. When I started playing Tarkov. And the extract was here. There was the tank extract there, and the other extract was the lighthouse. That was literally the whole map. It was actually like, I don't know, better than the current version? No. All right. So, like, I'm no game expert, as in, like, I'm not. I've had a little bit of formal education with game design, but like, let's be real, I'm not a game designer. But the one thing I do love about Shoreline is, as a person that spawns into the raid, they actually can play the map without having to force themselves to go, like, okay, tasks make a little bit of a difference, but people spawn in, the really sweaty geared players that want the best tier loot, they run into here like this. They're like straight into here, right? But if you're like, I don't know, level 7, just trying to fucking get by in the world, you can go around this way and around this way, and you could totally avoid that combat, right? And you can go around the resort and go through here or down here. Like, you can go do all that stuff and not have to worry about all the sweaty chads playing in the resort, right? And then later in the raid, if you really want to, you can go up to the resort. No, you can't. Bullshit, man. I used to do it all the time when I was in Europe, so you can't even say that my player base is like, it's the reason why I can do it. Like, the hidden stashes are great, and it's a really good map for design because the highest tier loot is located in a single area, and then everyone, like, you very, very, very rarely die straight off the spawn on Shoreline. Like, you know how in like Factory you die within like 10 seconds. Like, you spawn on Shoreline, the only spawns that really do suffer, I would say, is this one and this one. Only because if you're smart, you can run straight up on top of this hill here, and you've got perfect obs up that way. And this person here can run straight up here, and it's got perfect obs down that way. So these ones are the only real ones that suffer. Whereas, like, pretty much if you spawn here in any of those, because you don't have multiple spawn there, that one there, or in these two here, if you spawn in any of these, nearly no chance you're going to die within the first 10, 15 seconds. And the only reason why you die on these ones is because you have to run past all these people that are like up here and looking back. Like, that's the major issues. But besides that, it's actually generally a really good map design because you don't have to go to the highest tier loot area. And you can do other stuff in the map without having to get shafted. So, in saying that, Gucci, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. Wrong. I die everywhere, Pestily. Exfil camping map? Really? Road to Customs is probably the only spot that you could actually get exfil camped. The one change that I would like to have on Shoreline, and I've been preaching this one for a while, and I know people would be like, this is bullshit, but the rock passage should always be open, and it should go by the same rules as the paracord extract on reserve. It is literally the other side to reserve. Like, the reserve paracord extract is the same one as it goes to where Shoreline is. And if you go to the Rock Passage extract, you look up, it's the fucking dome there. It's the other side. So you can make it that everyone wants to go resort and across and let them extract camp that one, right? That would be actually kind of cool. Because then you would have to be worried about like extract campers in that area and all that stuff. But like that's on those sweaty chads that are using that extract. They've got the gear and the paracord and all that stuff. Good on them. But it would draw... Like, I actually kind of like think that would be the better option. Fix the boat extract indicator. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea too. Other side indeed, but both of them are north on the map. Yeah, ignore the map bit. So yeah. All right, that's probably the only change I'd have on Shoreline. But all right, loot-wise, Shoreline, lead X's galore. It's got red key cards. It's got ophthalmoscopes, blue key cards. What's my note say for Shoreline? 40 hidden stashes, 11 safes, 29 jackets. I think it's more jackets than 29, but we won't get into it. There's the cultists, there's the scav boss. Like it or not, I actually think probably Shoreline is the best loot in the game. If you get a red key card or blue key card, you've made bank. If you get lead X's, you make bank. There's graphics cards, you make bank. There's 40 hidden stashes, so you don't even have to go into the resort to make money. There's computers, there's duffel bags, there's jackets. Why is there an S tier category if factory is E tier for loot? I don't know. Why do we have certain things in life that we don't ever use? Like condoms or something. I don't know. Oh. Everyone use a condom. Practice safe sex. All right, today's message. We are gamers, we don't do sex. Yeah, but there's some people out there that feel like they need to. Anyway. Shoreline S tier for loot. 100%. 100%. Now, PvP. Resort PvP is so much fun when the audio works. I just like going to resort for PvP because of the audio. That's it. That's the only reason why I dislike the resort PvP. If it wasn't for that, like the outside PvP is fine. You hear people shooting and you run over there, you sniper for shots and you're fighting it just like it's woods. But the audio on resort, it's just like reserved when it comes to audio. Like is he up above me? Is he below me? Where is he? I'm so confused. The only advantage that I guess Shoreline has is it's only got three levels. You know what I mean? I heard him on wood, he's third floor. So I think Shoreline, if they fix the audio, the PvP would be amazing for the resort. But because of that, I guess the cool thing is Shoreline PvP is actually really sick because you if you go as a squad, you can actually lock that down pretty tight. You get someone like covering different corridors. But you go 3-man on Shoreline and you go, all right, we're taking a floor each. You can lock it down pretty nice. They need to move the resort to the middle of the map. It is in the middle of the map. It's not. Here we go. With that resort, would you say PvP is the same on Shoreline as on Woods? No. And that's because Shoreline has areas to move because of the trees, but also has open areas. So what it causes is a lot of I don't know what you call it, like it funnels people that want to play safe to go via the tree lines. And if people want to take the risk and run across the open field, it's on them if they die. You know what I mean? Whereas woods is kind of very congested. Like, it's just woods everywhere. And people could be hiding behind stuff everywhere. You know what I mean? Whereas on Shoreline, you expect people to be up on, you know, up at the radar tower on the rocks looking down towards Road to Customs and that, I don't know what these, like the telephone tower and stuff like that. You expect people to be in these locations, sniping across the swamp, or if someone runs into the swamp, you know, like there's more diversity in that, whereas woods is very much just trees everywhere. And it can be a little bit disorientating. Woods has woods, correct, Max? I think Max is taking notes. So yeah, for Shoreline PvP, I actually think if the resort audio was better, it would actually be amazing for PvP. It would actually be amazing for PvP. And you can use it. You can do sniping on the map too. So I think you're going to see a little bit of bias in Shoreline and Interchange with me, because I think Shoreline and Interchange probably are going to be very similar with PvP because of, I feel like they're really good squad PvP maps. Duos and trios going to both of those maps have a lot more success, and it's, I think, a lot more enjoyable. Locking down the resort or pushing through Interchange as a squad is a lot more enjoyable as trying to go solo and you doing everything right, dying to, like, you know, someone, or killing one or two and then dying to the third. Now the Shoreline loot is meh. No, it's not. It's really not. All right. Overall, I know this is going to look like it should, but I think overall, Shoreline is more of a frustrating map for a lot of people. Even though the loot is great and the loot is great and the PvP is quite good when it works with the audio, I actually think it's probably more of a B tier map. And the reason behind that is the tasks are very frustrating for a lot of people. That's probably, the tasks are very frustrating. The PvP is very tilted towards squad PvP, in my opinion, unless you're outside the resort. And the loot requires you to have a lot of keys. We could probably push it up to an A, but I feel like it sits in a B. Mostly because of, like, Shoreline has small amounts of point of interest. I agree with that. Let's move on to the next map. Next map that came out. Interchange is a really interesting map because when it first got added to the game, they had no scavs on it, right? And it ran at 120 FPS and it was fucking awesome, right? It was awesome. The problem was, you need the scavs to actually be on the map to bring in the in the PvP. It kind of makes it so like you could literally run around that map and not even see someone, because when someone shoots at scavs, it draws people to those locations. After that, they added in the scavs, and then they added in the scav boss. Now there's two things about Interchange we need to talk about: the loot and the PvP. Now the loot is quite insane. It's actually like rubles per hour. I don't think there's a map that you can beat it on. Shoreline has S tier loot because it's got red keycard, blue keycard, lead X's, and it has pretty much every item in the game. Interchange has all the other items in the game, like all your barter trade items, your computer items, your food and drink, and all that stuff in mass quantities. You do not even need to go to the high point of interest areas like the Kiba room or the ultra medical. Is it ultra medical? My brain's not working right now. The ultra medical key, that's the one in it. You don't have to go up there to get good money in this. For a period of this wipe, the average computer was worth 70,000 rubles. I'm not even joking. We did a test on it. We did like 100 computers, and we just looted them and got all the items and put it up and worked out how much they were per computer. And it was like 70 to 80,000 rubles per computer because of how much the Bitcoin funds were cranking out and the computer stuff. Early wipe. Back at Goshen, Ollie, and Idea, just getting all the barter trade items for hideout upgrades. You can literally make 1 million rubles every 7 to 10 minutes on Interchange. You run in, run to the back, grab all the stuff, get out. I don't think there's a single map you can make 5+ million an hour. I don't think that there is consistently. And Interchange early wipe, you can. So without going into the Kiba and the Ultra Medical and that, you can make bank. And if you do want to take the risk and go into those places, you can make banks in those locations too. Prices have dropped a lot since then, but you can still make good money there. Like, I think screws and stuff are still worth quite a bit of money. And the tech stores have graphics cards and other stuff. Fuel in the back of Ollie, when there was the global fuel shortage, that was great. So I feel like you can't, like, no matter what time of the wipe, there is still good money to be made on Interchange. And for that reason, it is by far the S tier of looting map. Like, if you can get in and out of these raids, like, I would put Shoreline here if there wasn't a secure container. If there wasn't a secure container, Shoreline would be A. It would probably be between A and B. But because there's a secure container, you find a red key card, blue key card, LED X graphics card, you can shove it in your container, you're sweet, you're covered, you're safe, right? Interchange, you don't need a secure container because even if you die half your raids, you can still just go in like budget gear with a big backpack and make bank. You can make so much bank. All right. Now, PvP on Interchange. There is 2 types of PvP on Interchange. And it really comes down to two PvPs. The first lot of PvP that you guys will probably be very aware of is the I'm going to go kill killer PvP. Right? And it's literally you run straight towards the killer spawn, and they're all trying to farm killer, and they're all got Vepr Hunters or MDR 308s. And if you go near that area of the map within the first 6 minutes, you are running into those people. It's so annoying. Because you know what they're there for, which is fair enough, because there's a quest that says kill killer 100 times. Unfortunately, you get caught in the crossfire of that, it's quite brutal. You actually find a lot of people going naked with Vepr Hunters hiding in corners, farming the people, killing those people. So, killer needs 2 spawn locations. I think killer, I don't know exactly how you would do it. He either needs to spawn in more locations or potentially make a way that he spawns once the actual Kiba room is opened. You could potentially make it 100% spawn rate, but only when the Kiba is opened. How good would that be? Or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a mixture of both. Maybe half the time he's roaming more and the other half he's inside the Kiba store. I don't know. But I actually feel like it's kind of a good thing that those people that are just in there to kill killer get in and get out, because then that way you don't have to worry about those people. The bad side of it is all the people that are going for that die kind of ruin it, because now that half the players are dead because they all went for killer. So, I don't know. Now, the other side of PvP for Interchange is, I guess it's a combination between either loot runners going to the tech stores to get all the graphics cards and ultra medical stuff, and squads killing those people. So I think Interchange is the most. If you are a squad, Interchange is the map you should be going. There's enough loot for your squad, and there's good PvP for your squad. You got different angles. As a solo player, Interchange is really rough because even if you cover the angles perfectly, there's too many to cover. it's really, really difficult. As a solo player, Duties is saying it should be a C. I think the Interchange sits exactly with Shoreline when it comes to PvP because of the fact that it's really, really squad heavy PvP, but it's a good, like, it's a great map for PvP. To be completely honest, it's a great map for PvP. It's just really, really, really hard as a solo player. It's really hard as a solo player. You've got to address the lighting. You want my opinion on the lighting, and you're not going to like it. Nighttime Interchange should be as dark as bloody Nighttime Factory. You shouldn't even be able to go in nighttime into the mall at nighttime without an NVG or a flashlight. And then if they did that, sure, make daytime a bit brighter. Even with power on, only the places that have lighting should be lit up. There's way too much ambient light in the Interchange. It has fog inside, which makes no sense. And I feel like the reason why there's fog inside, it's like the game almost feels like there's no roof. And because there's no roof, all the ambient light from the moon and that comes through and makes Interchange really bright. That's my thoughts. I think Interchange would be a really cool map if you had to wear an NVG at night time. But anyway, overall, I actually think Interchange is an A-tier map. It's actually really well designed too. The only thing that's missing from Interchange that would make it the perfect map is it needs another extract. It needs an extract in the corner that doesn't have an extract, and it should be it should be an extract where if you kill someone, get their dog tag, you hand her over a dog tag to extract. Done. Map complete. We can move on. Found in raid dog tag to extract in that one corner that has no extract. That I didn't come up with that idea. I think Sharptooth did, or I can't remember which streamer did it. I think it was Sharptooth that said that. It was the first person I heard say that. Care to explain? Literally, if you have a found in raid dog tag, you go to that corner of the map and you go, here's a dog tag. I've done the job you asked me to do. Let me out. Friendly dog tag too. If you want to kill your mate, feel free. And then the more extracts you have, the less chance there are for extract campers. So you've got the no backpack extract, you've got the car extract, you've got the dog tag extract, you've got the main extract, and then you also have the swipe card extract. That is heaps. After that point, I think that would make the perfect Interchange map. I was hoping to make this video not too long, but we've already been gas bagging now for an hour and 18 minutes. So let's continue on. The next map added to the game. Right. Labs. Where do we start? 4 safes, 8 jackets, and then it has pretty much every single loot in the game, including raiders. I think the point I want to make right here is the labs keycard, whilst making the map a risk versus reward system, also makes it I guess too punishing for a large portion of the player base. Like, I'm going to be completely honest, guys. How many of you guys have actually played labs more than... Actually, this is a serious question. How many people in chat have played labs more than 10 times in a wipe? Or this wipe? 1's for yes, 2 for no. Wow. So, like, don't you think that's, like, a little bit sad? I don't think we need to do a poll. Most of the chat's probably scared. Well, lab keycards got up to about 700,000 rubles per card. Like, half the people bloody messaging me are like, how do I make enough money to buy a loadout? Let alone buy a bloody labs keycard. I had a chat to Nikita about, it was not even a week ago. It was maybe about a week ago. And I said, Labs keycards right now are 700,000 rubles. Did you increase the stockpile and is there a potential that we could do an event weekend for labs where it's free to enter? And he said yes to both. So if you've seen the increased stockpile, I think they even reduced the price of it too. That's why you saw it. So he said both were a cool idea. So I don't know when it's going to happen. Hopefully it'll be, in the next week or two. But labs free entry weekend where people could just have fun on that map would be cool. I hate the idea that there is arguably one of the most enjoyable maps in the game, and people, like nearly everyone in chat, like I'd say 90 to 95% of people in chat said they haven't done more than 10 raids of labs this wipe. And we are 4.5 months into the wipe. So that's like one every 2 weeks you go into labs on average. I know the loot on labs is really good, all right? But it doesn't, depending on the cost of keycards, the type of people you have in your raid, and the spawn chances, particularly if the buttons don't work, right? I actually think labs is an A tier map when it comes to loot. And this is my justification, right? Let's just go with 400,000 to go in there, because I think that's about the average cost to get in there. Right? Let's go with 400k. Somewhere between 300 and 400k. If you go into that raid and don't even get you die before you even kill anything, and you've got a loadout on, you're already down a minimum 300 to 400k plus your loadout, which is potentially up to $500,000 to $1 million with no insurance. You are down up to 1 million rubles as soon as you get in there. And I'm going to be completely frank and honest with you guys. All right. We all know that it's the place where all the cheaters hang out. Unfortunately, I actually like the fact that there's a place where all the cheaters hang out. I'd rather them all be on labs so I can actually play the fucking other maps. Right. As much as I hate to say that, I would rather them all be on labs and then I can actually go play on other maps and not have to like stress too much about it. Please zoom in the labs card. Righto, duties. Duties put this together for me. Right. Claps to the chats for duties, all right? So yeah, let's just say like 1 in 10 raids, you don't even have a chance to even get out because we know who's in there. He who we don't speak of, then say their name. And then obviously like you are going to die to other players in there just consistently. Like even the best players die in labs a lot. Like it is how it is. Like it's just really good players playing there. So it's really hard to even make any money on there. So while the loot is good, it's really difficult to be consistent in that map. So that's why I'm not putting it S tier. And then there's no insurance, all the other stuff. It's I would almost put it down to B tier, to be honest. I'm not, but this is going to be where people are going to be like, Pestyli's list is fucking bullshit. The only thing, I guess, the thing about this map here is, whilst you can farm raiders for loot, you don't get good spawns on the other stuff. Particularly, say you go in as a 5-man squad onto labs, there's probably only about 5 million rubles worth of loot. If you looted every single item in labs and you didn't get like a green keycard and a LEDX, there's probably only about 5 million rubles you can get in labs. So you take it in 5 million rubles worth of kit plus another 2 million rubles worth of lab keycards in a 5-man group on labs. Like, you're probably not even going to come out as a profit. Like, I'm being honest there, actually, now I think about it. The only chance you would actually, the only thing that, kind of would even balance it out is if you killed another killed other players that would have more gear that would make it boot it back up. But someone's like 5 million rubles and it's only an A tier. Yeah, but like Interchange would have, particularly early wipe, would have 20 million rubles worth of loot every raid. If you could put the whole of Interchange in your backpack, and you don't have to pay to go in there. Yeah. Now for PvP, it is the best map for PvP. Really geared players, really good angles. It's really fun, really diverse fights. You can go to different areas and that. We don't need to argue about this one. It is honestly a great map for PvP. There's a reason why a lot of the PvPers love playing on it. Obviously, there's Shroud Stock players in there, but those things happen. You actually get good performance on the map too. But if you could play and not have any risk of dying to a cheater and all that, and free to enter, Lads PvP is best PvP. All right. When or if this event happens where we get to go into labs for free, I think people are going to go into labs fully geared and it's going to be chaos and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You guys are going to be throwing down and loving life in there. Next wipe, I swear, Dad, I'll go to labs and become a Chad. I'll do it for you. Thanks, son. All right. So as an overall map, I can't put it as S tier whilst I can't put it as S tier. I just don't think it has enough diversity. That's probably the only thing. I'd put it either as an A or B tier. It's a great map. Just it's missing things. It's missing a little bit of diversity. It's kind of how, like, you know, how Factory's just very linear. Maybe I'll put it down to B. You know what? I think I will. B, I think, not many issues, but the issues it has are big. And I kind of agree with that. Diversity of what? It's a very linear map like Factory. A plus S equals B. It is how it is, mate. It is how it is. Multiple levels, though. All right. Reasoning behind Lads being B as an overall map. All right. Very expensive to enter. You've really only got the one type of play in there. It's literally only fast firing guns and trying to and PvP and then clean up the slops for the loot. There's no real, like, you can't treat it as a sniping map. You can't treat it as like there's no real diversity in the actual map itself. There's no scab boss. I really, really hate the fact that I can't press both of the buttons for the buttons. The garages. That's more of a personal peeve. No insurance. I don't think that's really a big deal, but you know, there is no insurance in there. I think the map design is quite good though. The actual the layout of the map is actually quite good, but it's just it just doesn't it doesn't have the diversity I would like from a map. Yeah, that's the reason. You don't have to agree with this. This is just my theory. This is my tier list. It's the Pestily map S to F tier list. Not chat or YouTube. Tier list. All right. Reserve. Our newest map that was released in October 2019. Our newest map, which was released in October 2019. Right. Oh, I'm going to cop shit for this. Reserve is the best map in Escape from Tarkov. There is one negative. There is one negative for Escape from for Reserve. And if they address it, and I know they can, and it's so fucking easy to do, in my opinion. I'm sure it's probably more harder than actually just saying fix, but okay, 2. I'll up that to 2. You need to be able to shoot out the sirens. You need to be able to shoot out the sirens. And there needs to be a reason to stay in the map longer than 10 minutes. And the way they fix both of those. 1, sirens, shoot the fucking sirens, bam, they're out. 2nd, the scav boss should only spawn when the train arrives. Done. The scav boss will only spawn when the train arrives. It can either come off the train or fuck it, just come out of a different area, but just give a reason for people to stick into the map longer. The loot is insane. It doesn't matter where you spawn on Reserve, you can get access to loot within a minute. All right? Doesn't matter where you spawn on Reserve, you can get access to loot in a minute. Pestily plays on dead servers. He doesn't know what that issue. I played in fucking Europe for a whole year. It was the only map I played when I was in Europe. Not the only map, but it was the main map I played when I was in Europe. I did the Code Red tournament and won it whilst living in Europe, only playing Reserve, killing players and looting. I understand there's issues with the spawns. The map runs like doo-doo. Yes, I agree. The optimization of the map is subpar. Right. But the map itself, the loot. All right, let's talk about the loot. 40 intelligence spawns. Multiple graphics card spawns. Vertex spawns. VPX spawns. Fuck. Let me look at my cheat sheet, which you wrote cold. Highest number of jackets of any map. Really? 3 marked rooms. Aces. I said I was not doing Reserve. Tank batteries. There's just so much loot there, guys. 1 marked room is doo-doo. It is totally doo-doo. Right. Raiders spawn on the map. Glucker with his 6 minions spawns on the map. It is by far the most loot-dense map of the entire game. Labs included. It doesn't matter where you spawn, you can literally get to loot and make money on this map. It's the hardest part about this map is extracting. And that's what should be the purpose of the map. Like, getting to loot shouldn't be hard. Surviving the map should be hard. And everyone should have access to the loot. One of the biggest issues I have with customs, for example, is the marked room. It's the closest spawn wins. Reserve, it's not the closest spawn wins because it doesn't matter where you spawn on Reserve. There's a good chance you can get loot. Good loot. So that is my biggest issue with a map like Customs when it comes to loot is it's really based off if you get close to spawn to Crack House or close to spawn to Marked Room, it's not even about skill. It's literally about who's the closest spawn. Whereas on reserve, you can spawn on any area, and you've got some area you can go to get half decent loot. So I love that fact. So when it comes to loot, reserve, big thumbs up. Love it. All right. One sec. Now for PvP, it's a three-dimensional. I know the game's 3D, right? But it's a multi-dimensional map when it comes to where players are. They could be on different floors, across from different buildings, from attacking from different areas. There's opportunities to snipe. There's opportunities to do close quarters. There's the bunker system. There's like long range fights. It is diverse in its PvP. It's just anything on a screen is 2D. Oh, here we go. Building to building combat is super underused in this game. It's true. D2 rats, then don't use G2. Use the button. Use the sewer extract. Use the rebel extract. You guys relying on D2, you only have yourself to blame. Only have yourself to blame. So yeah, when it comes to PvP, it's got really diverse PvP, and it's a great map. Obviously, if there was a negative to reserve, let's talk about the overall, and it's S tier for overall. The negatives to reserve are this, right? The performance is absolutely dog shit, right? Even with my 3090, and I got like a i9 9900K. Even with that, the performance is dog shit, right? I don't think there's a computer in this world that runs reserve at a high FPS. The spawns need a bit of work, but it's not too bad. And the fact that there's a large amount of the game, the actual game is over in the first 10 to 15 minutes on reserve. It just needs a reason to hook you in for that map for longer. That's the only real reason. That's the only real negatives for reserve. It needs a 25-minute timer. Yeah. No, it doesn't really. But like, it just needs to have the scav bots spawn later. All the scav bots in Tarkov spawn as soon as the raid spawns. Like as soon as the game starts, raid starts, all the scav bots spawn, no matter what map it is. I think this is the one map they could actually have it come in later. That's a lie, Pestily. I saw Glocka spawn in 30 seconds late. Yeah, probably a bit of server lag, mate. I don't even think the extracts are bad on reserve. I'm going to be completely honest. Lock all doors to underground for 20 minutes. That's actually an interesting concept. That's an interesting concept. I don't think 20 minutes is right. But even 10 minutes, that would actually be a really interesting concept. What about this? I'm just going to put this out there. Every time you spawn into reserve, different underground doors are open and closed. So you might go in one way and the door's closed. But then you have to go around the other way to go in. Just adding a little bit of dynamic to it. Like I'm just throwing the idea out there. Like I'm not saying it's flawless. Yeah, let's not talk about dynamic loot. This is not is dynamic loot a needed S to F tier list. Make it controlled by a remote and give it to General Sam. Interesting. That really concludes the S to F tier list for this. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to do my YouTube wrap up here. So, guys, if you're watching on the YouTubes, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Take everything I say here as a grain of salt, because it's just from my experiences and my knowledge. Obviously, everyone has their different opinions, but mine is the right one. So, you should be liking, commenting by now if you haven't already. Every YouTube video ever see, doesn't matter whose channel. If you enjoy it, make sure you like and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Really do appreciate it. The support, and you should be supporting content creators, no matter how big or small. Yeah, I did this live on Twitch. I do it on Tuesdays. I do tier list Tuesdays. If you want to come pop into my Twitch stream and say g'day, next Tuesday. I film it on my Tuesday morning. Most of the rest of the world, it's like Monday afternoon or evening. So yeah. And lastly, guys, I'll see you next time.